What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another live Thursday night with the Garage. Hey, Shane, by the way, shoot me an email whenever you get a chance, would you, Shane? I got to talk to you. I take it everybody can hear me. I see the green line moving today, so we got that part working. What's going on, Saxon? What up, Window? We should probably make it official. Whoa. Hey, super slow. Come on. Bruce. My man, Bruce. Did you get my email, Bruce? I don't think I saw a response from you. So I just wanted to make sure you got the email I sent you. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Hey, 780. Ken, my man. Boop, 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 boop. If you guys are waiting on hats, they went out this week. They're on their way. Finally. Yay. Hey, Daily Soul. It's going to be an interesting month. There's going to be some... Okay, cool. I'll check it out. There's going to be some interesting news coming out this month. Some interesting stuff. There's going to be some videos, new videos coming out. Man, I'm starting to feel old. I'm starting to look old. I need to get one of those filters like the Instagram chicks use. Makes me look. Yeah. There's going to be. In fact, this weekend I'm going to be doing the paddle shift using the multiplexer stuff. So that'll be. I'm going to do a video on that. Kind of a cool process of using resistors and having 3 inputs wired up to 1 input channel on the ECU to do upshift and downshift and stuff like that. Yeah, I still got the hair, luckily, you know. I was a little bit worried whenever I had the surgery a couple years ago. You can see one of the scars right there. I was worried that one, the hair did not grow back. This one over here, you can't really see because the hair grew over. Didn't scar nearly as bad. Yeah, the info, Shane. Yeah, so I'm excited. Have you tried to use an iPad or tablet for a live screen on the core? No, because I don't know how you would be able to do that. You would have to have something. So I originally thought about putting a mini PC in instead of a radio, and I didn't go that route. I ended up just doing one of those Android double DIN units and throwing it in there. Theoretically, you could do something with the CAN bus and CAN bus out to a program that would do gauges. 3Mate says, I get a P1516 code from time to time, so I went to Engine Diagnostic and put the mill on second error. Is that cool to stop the code? Yeah, what is a P1516? P1516. Oh, TAC code, yeah. Yeah. It's pretty normal whenever you start modding to get TAC codes, throttle codes, airflow codes, stuff like that. Honestly, a lot of times, just turn them off. If you're drive-by-wire, though, it can get a little sketchy because you can turn off codes that would put you in reduced engine power to theoretically keep you going into runaway throttle. Man, that's crooked. Is that better? Is that better? I got to look good for all the people on the live stream. But yeah. Pretty natural to have to once you start doing mods. 3Mate amps. I don't know. Did I tell you guys I basically sold the Camaro already? It's time to move on. It's time to get something new. It's time for a new project. But last weekend I actually went out and took her for a spin. I hadn't driven the thing more than a couple miles. I went out and put 40 miles on it and didn't miss a beat. I got to take it in and get the tires balanced this weekend, though. Got a shimmy. Starts up about 65, gets worse towards 70. Hey, Ricardo. So, hopefully it's the tires, because I actually did measure all the pinion angles out last weekend before that and shim the transmission up, because I need to get the transmission up a little higher if I could. So, after measuring the pinion angles and stuff like that, I needed to do about a half-inch shim on the transmission side to get good angles on that. And the wheels, the rear wheels, have the leftover adhesive, from where wheel weights were on, and it looks like the tires have been replaced and they probably didn't balance them. And it feels like it's coming from the rear. I don't really feel it through the steering wheel. So I don't think it's the front. I think they put new tires on the rear and did not balance them. But, not a big ordeal. We'll see. So what's everybody up to? I feel like I'm talking to myself. What is chat frozen? Let's go, chat. Come on. Scroll. Wherever you're at, scroll. Let's see words pop up on screen. Yeah. No, you'll be fine. Purchase your scanner channels. Watch vid on it. Get set up. Got them worked. I have one question. Go ahead, Ricardo. Shoot with the questions. Thanks, Shane. Let them fly. The DW440. I'll be honest with you. What is this? I didn't do the 440. I did the next one up. The inline version. No, I guess I did the 350. I did the 350 on the Camaro. Waiting on coilovers. Which ones you get, Ken? I have not. Tool CT160. You're doing flow rate balancing? I don't know if the CT160 can or not. Oh, yeah. You can do flow rate with it. Well, yes. Okay. In theory, you've got to calculate it out. So you'll want to do it for a set amount of time and then measure how much flowed in that time. So, get a stopwatch or something on your phone, fire it up. Depending on how big the injectors are, let them flow for 30 seconds or a minute, and then you can calculate back out. Going over to the 15s. Fixie Snow Black Quad. Winter is coming up here. Where you at, Jesse? Still working on that elevator. What do you mean it don't seem right? What are you... And the thing that... My dogs are going crazy. I wonder what the graduated measurements are on it. We're not doing a raffle this week. I got to tease you guys a little bit. Stock one seemed low. Well, the only issue about it, just double check that your pressure's high. What pressure were you flowing them at? Like, how much pressure are you getting on? 58? I don't know. I'm trying to think if I've got a set of injectors, Mark. Maybe if I have some time this weekend, I'll fire mine up and see if mine flow out right. Were they coming in low? Yeah, stock ones seem low. So if you were flowing like 38 pounders, what were you getting, like 32 pounds or something like that? DW440 brushless fuel pump with the 2-speed controller. Oh, real low. Every time I've used it, they come in decently. 16? No, that's way too low. Something's going on there. And it may be the mode that you're doing the test in might determine that. I like T-Works. They're Oklahoma boys. They're out of Oklahoma City. Everything from Oklahoma was good. Oh, that's sweet, man. If I search Alto CT160, my video is the first one that comes up. Good job, everybody. It's probably because I'm searching on my account. It's stroking my own ego. Oh, come on, Tommy. Why'd you have to bring up the Cowboys? I'm an Oklahoma State guy. Do we have to enable any settings if we stay SD in Gen 3? No, TJ, in that situation, what you want to do is disable the math DTCs and fail it, or just get rid of the math. On Gen 3, if you're running the old honeycomb style, you're better off just getting rid of it because it's a flow restriction. 2008 G8 Gen 4 LS3 with LSA, that's a mouthful, 6L80. First 6-speed tune with power, virtual torque tuned. Hangs between shifts way too long at wide open throttle. Closes throttle 50%. Best place to start. So, Bob, there's a couple things. Airflow's got to be dialed in. So I talk a lot on Gen 4s that virtual torque really doesn't matter that much. Well, where it does matter in particular is on transmission. Because whenever they implemented virtual torque on the Gen 4s, it was strictly to pull power for transmission shifts. Okay? Now, Gen 5 is whenever they went over to torque-based DCUs, and it works for everything. So but the torque calculations are not correct unless the airflow model is spot on. And I'm talking VE and math have to be dialed in if you have a math. If you're running mathless, obviously it's not a problem. But it has to be, like normally I'll say VE can be within 5% plus or minus and you're going to be fine. You might have to get a little bit tighter. That's the first place. Second place is you got to look at your virtual torque tables to see kind of where it is hanging up at. So see, your closes throttle 50%, wide open throttle. What's your air mass at? Where you at on the table? How much torque is it commanding versus how much it is calculating that it's making? So if the calculated torque is not, how do I phrase this? The requested torque has to be higher than the calculated torque, or else it's going to close throttle. Now, on top of it, on the transmission side, there is the virtual torque or the torque management tab on the engine, but there's also a torque management tab on the transmission. Now, if your 6L80 is truly built, you can go into the torque management tab under the transmission and start backing down the shift torque. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. Now, this is something I don't talk about very often because what you end up having is dudes with 6L80s going out there turning this down and frying their transmissions because they're trying to do it on stock ones. And there's a reason that we're pulling power. That's what allows the clutches to survive. So, okay, let's jump over to the whiteboard here. Where's the whiteboard? Well, that's interesting. The whiteboard's over there instead of over here, but nonetheless, here it is. So if we come in under the trans and torque management, we look at our upshifts. So these torque factors are essentially saying pull 100% of the requested torque. And it goes through, there's a lot of other stuff involved. But in this case, if we lower this down to a 0.7, we're going to be saying only pull 70% of the requested torque. Make sense? And so you can play around with that until, and you'll be walking a fine line where you get to the point where you're not doing it. Now, if it's built, you also want to make sure that you bump your upshift pressures for a built transmission. And then the other thing is double check your shift scheduling, or shift timing. Now, this is kind of a funky parameter because we've got these shift timings in here. At the end of the day, though, the transmission is still a hydraulically controlled unit. We have electronically controlled solenoids on these modern transmissions, But we still have to have enough time for the hydraulics to do stuff. So you can try lowering these down on built transmissions to get quicker shifts also. Just a couple things. Okay. Hopefully that gives you a couple areas to check out, Bob. Dude, bro, an XR6 Turbo. Sweet, Travis. Totally different. But I'm glad, and that's one of the things I like. I tried it, and I was talking to one of the guys at HP Tuners the other day. One of the girls at HP Tuners the other day, and I said, listen, the best thing that you can do is learn the fundamentals of how a car works, and then a lot of these tuning things work across all platforms because the fundamentals are still the same. We're still doing air and spark and all that stuff. Yes, Ricardo and 3Made, I have 3rd, 4th, and 5th gens. Now, there might be some 3.5 gen E40 stuff that's not on there. But, yes, 3rd and 4th gen are what are on there. And honestly, double check. They will at least get you close. Some of them might be a little off based on different kind of setups. So I have a weird issue, 2016 Camaro SS 6-speed manual. Anytime I start the car after a drive, if I park it for 30 minutes and go to start the car, the idle will try to rev to the moon. What mod you got going on, Sean? So there's a couple things that can be causing this. One of them being an idle airflow that's completely out of whack and nowhere near where it needs to be. And so the adaptives will overcompensate. Ricardo, what's wrong? MSD intake, okay, 103 throttle body, header Z85. Well, hold on. Let me deal with Sean's because I don't know why that. What are you working on? First Gen 5. Oh, yeah, there's Gen 5 stuff on there. All the pressure ratio stuff's on there and the math curve for Gen 5. Spark table for Gen 5 should be close. Gen 4, Gen 5 kind of uses the same spark table. Just double check the columns and rows. Okay, where was that? Sean. Okay. Where are we working on again? 26. Camaros. I hate Camaros. I love Camaros. Don't get me wrong. I hate tuning Camaros. They have some weird stuff that goes on. Okay. 2016 Camaro. Boop, 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 boop. Man. More time in. Okay, so there you've got your cranking airflow stuff like that, but generally, I think under spark is where it's at. Where is the... help me out. Where is the anti-flare? Because there is an anti-flare. Is it... Let's see if we can find it using the navigator. Nope. Maybe it doesn't have anti-flare on this ECU. This is E32? E92. Oh, okay. So 2016 is direct port injection or direct injection. So it's not going to have anti-flare because direct injection doesn't use anti-flare. So you've got something jacked up with your torque model on this. Only in summer months, pretty much. And so that almost sounds like you've got an airflow correlation issue, a temp correlation issue. Man, that's a tough one to troubleshoot, I'll be honest with you, Sean. I'd probably need to look at a log for that one because there's so many things that could be going on that one. But it's going to be torque. There's something wrong with torque. Let me double check under torque, external load. And that's running off of oil temp. Man, I don't get these external load values. They're so high. Like, you should not be having 136 foot-pounds of external load to offset limit. Then the reserve table's pretty standard on Camaros. Oops. I don't know. Shoot me a log. I'll take a look at. I saw one. No. Well, it depends. TJ, whenever we're talking about doing SD mode, you want to have a wideband. If you go out wideband, turn off LTFT and STFTs. 2010 and 5.3 just off jacks. Need to start at TSP stage 2. Low lift cam stock converter. I know the DOD VTT. What's a good start point for idle and fuel? Listen, for a low lift cam, you won't have any issues. The things will fire. The only thing that you may have to adjust is the cranking airflow. And it's probably only going to need to be reduced about 10%. Maybe 15. So let's jump in. Under airflow, cranking VE. This is 100%, which means it's referencing back to your standard VE. Come in there, just set that thing to 85 across the board. It'll fire up, and you can go from there. I do not have Discord just because I'm so busy I wouldn't have time to spend in Discord. Hey, Joe. So, let's see. What I saw another question in here. Hey, Andrew. Where was it at? Where's it at? I was thinking not enough fuel for the dense air. How do LTFTs tell you if there's a vacuum leak? Long terms probably are not going to tell you if there's a vacuum leak. But if they start reading overly lean, it could be. So if you've been watching your long terms and they're hovering in, say, the 5% range, and then suddenly you're 8 to 10% lean, there's going to be a vacuum leak. Man, there's another question up here. If you asked a question, I missed it. I'm sorry, guys. I have a hard time keeping up. I saw stuff about Gundy. You guys are going to make me cry. Maybe somebody removed a question. Oh, like what? Weird Camaros. Camaros just really weird about they don't like having the math failed in a lot of situations. I thought I saw a simple question like, and I can't find it anymore. So if you asked it, don't be afraid to ask questions. There is no stupid questions. TSP 3/4 cam and 4.8. Man, I'm not the cam guy. I'll be honest with you. Listen, any cam's better than a stock cam. That's all I can really tell you. That's a Richard Holdner question. He could probably tell you exactly what that thing's going to do. Thinking something along the lines of a forum. You know, well, here's the thing. I did a forum for a while. It costs money. Nobody uses it. So we do have a Facebook group. I jump on there every once in a while. There are some guys that kind of moderate it, and questions do get asked and answered on there. So, you know, jump over on... yeah, jump over and join the Facebook group. I'm still having a problem with cranking. Sometimes it will start right up. Most of the time I have to flood clear it for it to start. So it's too rich then, Joe. If you're having to flood clear it, your cranking fuel is too high. And so if you look at your cranking fuel table, it'll be temperature based. Or your fuel FA, not cranking fuel. If you come over your fuel FA table, it's temperature based. This one's inverted. Let me put it right. There we go. So, target the area. If you're having warm or cold start issues, take fuel out. So if it cold starts fine, leave the, alone down there. Come up here, take it out. Do it, 0.9. Take out 10% at a time. Give it a shot. Okay? What's the best way to scale 80 pound per hour injectors on an 06 GTO? So, 80 pounds is very interesting because that's probably going to require a lot of scaling. And so let me look. I don't know if we can get full 80s on an 06 GTO. Let's see. I've got a GTO automatic here. Close enough. So what's our max float? 63. Okay, so we can. So you want to do half. So if they're 80, you would take your injector data, and a lot of the injector data that's out there has scaling built into it, and it's going to be half. If you're on a modified fuel system with a pressure regulator, you're just going to go to 40, and then we're going to double our storage table. So multiply that by 2. Now what's going to happen, here's the gotcha that gets everybody, is anywhere that you have air mass as a calculated parameter, air mass like this, we have now halved our readings of air mass. So if you're running 108 maximum air mass beforehand, now you're down at 56. And here's where the gotcha is. You suddenly went from running 20 degrees of max timing to 27 degrees of max timing. So you have to scale this down. You've lost basically half the resolution of this table is gone. This unless you're boosted. But this naturally aspirated, instead of operating through here, you're now operating in here. So you have to rescale your timing tables because the air mass is halved. Okay? That's basically it. Be aware. And it sucks because on the E40, you can't rescale air mass. Some later ones you can. And whenever you do, it will highlight every table that uses air mass, because almost every spark table in here is going to be air mass based. So same situation here. You know, if we're running 120, now we're going to be at 60. Not a real big issue on this table because it looks exactly the same. Dude, the view inverted feature's been there 2 or 3 years now, and I remember stumbling across it, and it was one of those things. It's like, finally, this is what I've been looking for. Because I can't remember what ECU it is, but the primary VE table was always inverted on those. And so it always looked like this with the RPMs down the left. And it's not a big ordeal, other than it just drove me crazy because the way that I adjust tunes, I like to adjust on pressure. In this case would be columns, but I like to adjust on pressure rows. And so I like having the pressure for my row and RPMs for my columns. Okay, I saw something about exporting. Oh, wait a second. SLB King, I have a 2016 Camaro. What is it with the 2016 Camaros tonight? With light cam and headers, it idles smooth, but every few seconds it stutters, then it's fine again. AC off, no real change in fan speed either. Every once in a while it stutters again. SLB King, log your cylinder misfires. You might be getting misfires on a couple cylinders or one cylinder. If you're seeing it on multiple cylinders, you need to do a crank relearn. I've been seeing more and more of this, but I have a sneaking suspicion if it shutters and then it's fine again, you've got a hole that's going to be higher than the rest. Bad coil, bad plug, bad wire. Have you seen pump check valves leaking? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Listen, Bruce, I'm more blown away if one does not leak back. Okay? So, in the majority of fuel pumps that have internal check valves, I seldom see, like aftermarket ones, actually hold pressure. Is there a way to cut, say, the last 5 minutes of a scan log? What are you wanting to do, Schmidt? You wanting to cut it out of the log, or you wanting to use that information? Okay. I will hit Kyle Peterson's questions next. So let me open up a log here. I don't even know what this is for. Cut it out as corrupt. Okay, so we've got this log here. We've got our zoom in button here. Say we want to cut out the last 5 minutes. Find where your 5 minute breakpoint is. and then make sure your slider is within that range. And then up here, choose view zoom data range only, and it will cut out that part of the log. Every single table you can do this. Just remember to go back to the full one whenever you're done, or else you'll be missing data whenever you look at stuff after that. So pretty nice little tool, and it's per graph, as you can see. I'm cycling through these graphs and it's going through. Okay. Kyle Peterson, I'm trying to get my scanner set up and I noticed my TPS. Oh, that's what the question was. Kyle Pearson, you are logging an SAE value. In this case, throttle position, SAE. If it has SAE behind it, that means it's a Society of Automobile Engineers predefined value. There is a certain range that has to fall in, that every company that has OBD2 has to follow those guidelines. What you want to do is look for a non-SAE. So if we're looking at throttle position, you can see here on, I don't log SAE. I log any of them that are non-SAE. SAE scaling will get you every time. Non-SAE will be scaled to the ECU and should read 0 to 100% because you're at 17%, 18% as the bottom side, and you're probably never going above 86%. So many Kyles in here. Hey, Kyle Hampton, Kyle Peterson, Kyle Crawford. What's going on? It's the Kyle Club up in here. Oh, throttle body and fuel injected. Got 2000 Mercury Mountaineer Premier 5-liter V8 all-wheel drive. What are the common places for a coolant leak? I honestly do not know. I have been trying to find a slow leak for years now. I go through a jug every year. They make radiator caps where you can put pressure on it without running. I pressure that thing up and just start looking around. Can't find the vacuum leak. Used a smoke machine, sprayed the intake with 3mm blade and carb cleaner while the engine was running while mine fuel trims. Marty, why do you think you have a vacuum leak? That's the question I have now, because honestly, if you've hosed down the intake manifold area with carb cleaner and not heard the idle change, you probably don't have a vacuum leak. Oh, come on. Got the Turbo 408 tuned yesterday. This thing is downright disrespectful. Was losing a little bit of fuel pressure boost increase, then realized I never hooked up the boost reference to my FPR. Yeah, that would do it. That would do it. Hey, Drew, what's going on? That's my cousin Drew Graff down there. He owns a machine shop down in Oklahoma. Anybody in Oklahoma needs some custom machine work, look up Drew Graff. Where you at, in Guthrie, Drew? You around the Guthrie area? Aftermarket Icon throttle bodies, like the Motion Raceworks Icon throttle body. I didn't know they leaked around the V yet. Okay, Crescent. There you go. Look them up if you're around the Crescent area and you need some machine work. Dude, that's a nice piece. That's one of the few pieces, and I'm sorry to hear that those things leak because, okay. We got about 4 minutes left. I'm going to get my soapbox out, and I'm going to tell you exactly what I think about Motion Raceworks. And the good news is they were never going to sponsor me anyways, which is good because I think their products are pretty junk. So the best thing that they ever did was get old Cletus to sign on. And so I liked the Icon throttle body. I think it is a fairly good looking piece and I kind of like it, but this stuff is way too expensive. Way too expensive. And you'll see what they've done is they cornered the market for dudes that are running shitbox LSs that have no mods, but they've got $1,000 set of Billet Motion Raceworks valve covers on there because Cletus talked them into wasting their money on it. Yeah, and they bought Mark Williams. Listen, I've always been a quick performance guy, but Mark Williams, I always respected their rear end stuff. So, but But a lot of the stuff that they have designed, like that shifter that they made, is the absolute worst shifter I have ever used in a manual valve body car. I hate it. I gave it away, and the guy I gave it to threw it away. And that's like a $700 to $1,000 shifter. What's the better shifter? Hurst quarter stick is the best shifter on the face of the planet. M&M makes good shifters also. I love the Hurst quarter stick. If you're running a manual valve body, it just works. You know, why is the sky blue? It just is. Why does the Hurst quarter stick work? It just does. So, I ordered one of their fancy throttle cables. And it's like, oh man, this is the best throttle cable. And this thing hooks up. And you'll never have to adjust it again. It's never going to slip out or anything like that. I get it. I go to install it. And the set screws are back at the pedal, which isn't a good design. But on top of it, if you're installing it in a car with a cage, it's impossible. It is impossible. You try to adjust not one, but two set screws with like a 2.5 millimeter Allen set key on them at the throttle, at the pedal instead of the throttle. Why in the hell wouldn't you put it at the throttle body? Like, it's mind-blowing to me. So, Motion Raceworks makes overpriced junk. Honestly, if there's something that they make that you like, there is another company that makes something that is like it, but better. Okay? I'll go on notice of saying that. But I will say Doug is a smart guy by getting Cletus on board, because that dude is you know, he's selling ice to Eskimos out there. Like, these dudes aren't getting anything out of it. Need a throttle body with no IAC? Wilson. Go with Wilson. Now, Rife, I don't know. I did a video on Rife. I don't think... Listen, I think Rife are overpriced, just like everything else. I don't see spending $200 on an IAT whenever I can buy almost 20 GM IATs for that price. It would take a lot of methanol spraying directly on that sensor to ruin it, and they don't read any faster. I don't care what anybody says. I've got a video out there proving that they don't read any faster. They don't read a damn bit faster. Don't waste your money. Like, once again, they're gimmicky. They like gimmicks. They sell you these gimmicks that make you feel like you need them. You don't need any of their crap. People were running fast before Motion was ever around, selling their tchotchkes for overpriced crap. So, Bruce, I don't know if Wilson makes an LS style. Yeah, I know, it's been a while since we've done methanol injection. Yeah, exactly, Super Slow. They're after the deep pocket show drag cars. They're after the guys that want to look good more than they want to go fast. Dude, listen, low dollar Amazon sensors all day, every day. And if it craps the bed, I don't have to feel bad about it. And that's why I still have not installed the Rife IAT sensor. Now, I take that back. I did put a Rife IAT sensor on the Camaro, the 68 Camaro. But there's a specific reason why. And that's because I wanted to put it in a 1/8 MPT, and they're the only company that makes a 1/8 MPT IAT sensor. But it still pained me a lot to pay that money. Okay, yeah. TVS, run to hood clearance with normal LS throttle body. Ricardo, every Thursday, 8 Eastern. So, yeah. Okay, listen, guys. It is 8:32. So we're going to wrap. I've got to get ready for a long weekend of stuff. Why does the stream is showing the wrong screen? Is it that far behind? But the chat isn't. I don't understand. What I'm seeing over here is like, well, it says we've been going for 40 minutes though. So, But I want to wrap up. Marty looked at log bank 2. Okay, so if bank 2 is the only one that's reading lean, Marty, you probably have an exhaust leak upstream of your front or narrowband. So on the passenger side, look for exhaust leak telltale signs. Look for soot around the flange, something like that. So a lot of times, that's what happened. Driver window mechanism Merc was jerry-rigged to roll the window up and down, but the jerry will constantly break the outside door handle, so I bought a door from a Ford Explorer. There you go, man. That's what you got to do sometimes. Listen, everybody, great crowd tonight. Thanks as always. We'll see you next Thursday night. You know the drill. Thanks for stopping by the garage. Remember, ABT, always be tuning. I almost forgot to play the end script.